Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. We're so happy that you could all join us, take time from your very busy schedules for a very, very special event. And that would be the second grade concert, part 2. We had part 1 this morning with the first half, and now we're having our last concert for the year. Then we'll have a memory show, of course, for kindergarten. But we are so happy that we're able to have these kinds of events again, because as most of you probably know, we haven't had a concert here since 2019. That was obviously pre-COVID, so that was a long time ago. But as you will find, it's worth waiting for, because your children are doing an amazing job. And you'll find that they have become great musicians and performers, even though we have music on a cart this year. So we have, we had to give up our classroom, our music room for a classroom, and now we have music on a cart, but it's unbelievable what Mr. Escalade has done on a cart. Carting all of his many instruments, because he plays many, many different instruments, and all of his expertise from room to room. So I think that you're in for a real treat. So let the show begin.
History, and I try to focus on American music history, so we go all the way back to jazz and blues. We talk about blues music and swing music, and then we slowly bring it up to just about the present. And of course, if we're talking about rock and roll, we have to talk about the Beatles, even though they're not an American band, they do influence American art. And the students eventually get curious and they go, okay, Mr. E, well, we know what rock and roll sounds like. We've been talking about the Monkees and the Beatles and Bill Haley and the Comets and all these kind of like big rock and roll bands. But what happens after rock and roll? And I say, well, the musicians decide they want everything to be much faster and much louder. And so we get the metal music. So the next song we're going to do for you, Miss Marsden's class is going to perform Crazy Train. But what they are going to do is they are going to use these instruments. different American composers. We spent a lot of time on composers from all over the planet. But one of my favorite composers, one of my favorite songwriters, is Bobby McFerrin. And he's one of my favorite composers because he's also such a wonderful educator. He's a great singer and he's a really good educator. So we show the students a couple of different films, a couple of different videos of him teaching some singing techniques. And then we practice one of his songs. And at this point, Mrs. Years class is going to sing Don't Worry Be Happy. one earlier this week as a whole school, as a first, second, and kindergarten school at Mrs. Balfour's retirement assembly on Tuesday. And as you can see, we have these posters and these balloons all over the auditorium from that assembly celebrating Mrs. Balfour, saying thank you to her. And a while ago, some of the teachers asked me if we could do a song that the whole school would sing together. And I thought about it for a little bit, and then I decided that we would sing the song Rainbow Connection, which is one of my, I love the song. I think it's a very cute song. But I think the most important is the whole point, the whole idea of Rainbow Connection is that rainbows aren't really magical. We can explain them. They're scientific. We know how they work. But that doesn't make them any less pretty, and it doesn't make us any less likely to kind of stop and look at a rainbow. And I think that's a lot what Mrs. Balfour does. It's something we can explain. We know what a principal's job is. We know how a principal works. But it's still a really cool thing to see a principal who was as engaged with her school and as forward with her school as Mrs. Balfour was in the past for a very long time. So thank you very much, Mrs. Balfour. We have two more songs left. This next one is one that the second graders learned this year. It's a brand new song that I just started teaching this year. It is called All Together We Are Loved. It is originally written for middle school chorus. We do a different version of it. You will hear the computer playing along with some piano. I will also be playing guitar. The students are going to be singing. I think this is another, once again, it's a very pretty song. It's very tricky. It was a very tricky song for us to learn. It has a lot of different musical techniques in it. But I'm very, very excited for you to hear this, and I'm very excited for our second grade to perform our second to last song.
I am
Okay, so first of all, I'd like to say congratulations to our second graders for an awesome concert. Didn't they do one? Definitely worth waiting 4 years for. So thank you very much. Awesome job, second graders. As I said to Mr. Escalay before, any concert that starts with the Beatles song is going to be a great concert as far as I'm concerned, which is really showing my age, my taste in music. But it was so nice to see the nice mix of music that you had. It was just all upbeat and uplifting and wonderful. And Mr. Escalay, as I said before, has done a wonderful job. He's introduced the children to so many different aspects of music, other than just singing and listening. He has a variety of instruments that I told you about. He brings in things like, he talked about, like physics, and countries of origin of songs and different kinds of music. And he integrates things like our Kindness Week and our Earth Week. And it's all integrated into music, which is exactly the way it should be. So I hope all of our children not only have enjoyed singing, but also learning so much about music in general. And so thank you, Mr. Escalay. Nice job. Okay, and then in addition to Mr. Escalay, of course, we couldn't do this without the second grade teachers who are all sitting up in the front here. So let's start with Mrs. Hazel. Mrs. Hazel. And then we have Mrs. Pfeiffer. And we have Mrs. Marsden. And the third trustee sidekick, Mrs. Champy. Here. And then we also have some people behind the scenes who, Mrs. Brunelli. We also have Ms. Adams, who was up here. She's not here right at this moment, but Ms. Adams. And we have some of our special support teachers who have worked with the grade level. We have Mrs. Dyson and Mrs. Levy, who have worked with the classes as well. And then, of course, in addition to that, we have many, many other support people. Our other specialists, our reading and math specialists, our other special needs people, et cetera, et cetera. So we thank them all for bringing this all to fruition today. You know, this is the group that has been through it all with us, as have you, right? So you're the COVID group that was here during the times when we had remote learning, part-time classes, you know, cohort A and cohort B, completely different bus schedules, and you're at home trying to do your jobs and also be teachers on a half-time basis. And we were here doing the same thing. So we thank all of you for all of the support and encouragement and collaboration that you have given throughout the years. These children are all the product of all of that love and support and collaboration. So it takes a village, we always say. Here we say it takes a school family. And it certainly has been that over the past several years. You know, we also have so many wonderful support groups in the community. We have our Norfolk Parent-Teacher Organization, the PTO. We have the CPAC, which is the Special Education Parents Advisory Council. And then in the community at large, we have Norfolk Community League. They've been so supportive of us, all of these groups. Many with funding and many with volunteers as well. The volunteer time that you people have spent here in the library and in the cafeteria, and all we did at home during those years, they just couldn't be duplicated. We couldn't have done it without you. So we thank you very, very much. We also have Dr. Eladi, our superintendent, who's been very supportive, our school committee, that has always advocated for us and proposed a budget that would meet our needs, and our school council here at HOD, who also works with us to develop things like school improvement plans, etc. And then we have the NCTV people. Mr. Barker, Mr. Andrew Barker is here today. They are always here to film things so that you can enjoy these the concerts with your families and friends, no matter where they live, on YouTube. And this morning, Donna Jones from NCTV was here, and so we thank her for being here this morning as well. So we have lots and lots of people to thank, and I would like to thank you for all of your support and love over the years. It has been wonderful being here in Norfolk, a very special community. And you know, I grew up in Boston, went to high school in Boston, went to Boston College, got out of school and said, I'm teaching in Boston, you know, or Brookline or someplace around there. And then I met some people from Norfolk, and I was looking to do something a little bit different, maybe my first year of teaching. And I said, Norfolk, where is it? Because growing up in Boston, we always thought there was Boston, Dedham, the Berkshires, the Mississippi, and then the West Coast. So we knew nothing about all these little towns in between. And so I came out here and then really just fell in love with the town and the community, which was very different when I first started here 51 years ago. But it has grown, and obviously you're all here. And some of you grew up here and stayed here, so that's a sign that there's something wonderful going on in this community. So I know that will go on forever. I have enjoyed being here and being part of it. And we'll always have that rainbow connection, right? So I'll be around. I might be a volunteer next year. Who knows? The lunchroom certainly needs help. So that might be my calling for next year. But again, I just can't thank you enough. And for the last 2 years, I've been so fortunate to have Kristen Jaffoon here as our assistant principal. And so she knows your children very well. She knows everything about the school very well, and she will be here to carry on next year and in many, many years to come, because I'm sure she'll find the same niche that I found here in Norfolk. And then we have Mrs. Tammy Rubella, who will be starting as the principal, and she's going to come and visit on Tuesday anyway, and I'll be working with her during the summer. So it should be a nice transition, and I'll tell her all good things about all of you. So, and all of you too, but you know, you'll be on to Freeman, so I'll have to tell Mrs. Hickey all the good things about you. So thank you again. I hope I've included everyone. Oh, well, you know, I always include our custodians who do all the setup and cleanup. So Mr. Gleason, Mr. McDonald, Mr. Sheehan, for everything that they have done. And you kids are wonderful. Thank you for sharing.
Let me answer. You can stop.